What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Sheehan Show here on Sherdog.com. My name is Sean Sheehan. I'm absolutely delighted to be joined by Cassius Clay Collar today, just after his big win over Patricky Pitbull at the 2024 season of PFL. Clay, thank you very much for joining me. How are you today? I believe you're out on a drive.
Yeah, just running some errands. I got the baby and the dog in the back, actually, but we're doing well. We're doing great, so.
Very good. I was talking to Impikasang and I the other day, and he was in the middle of the countryside, and he had dogs and he had bikes and he had everything as well. So the PFL crew are on tour this week. It's good. I want to ask you about that Patricky fight, because it was an amazing fight, one of the best fights of the year so far. Can you grasp how good of a fight it is when you're in the middle of it? Are you just like full bore? I need to do this, and this, or do you know when it's great?
I mean, I'm just in there fighting, man. I don't really think too much on if the fight's, I think I like to think like it's going my way. That's a bonus, but yeah, we're just in there fighting, man.
There's some fighters like to say they like to fight to entertain the crowd, and others like to fight, basically this is the best way for me to fight, the best way for me to win. Is any part of your planning or any part of the way you fight for entertainment value for the crowd, or is it all based on what's technically best for you?
I mean, I had a fan write, Clay is a man of violence for the people. I think that fits me well. Yeah, I would like to say I cater towards the fans and try to be violent in there, so.
The fight against Patricky, when it was signed, was it one you immediately knew was going to be an absolute barn burner? It's funny because of the Bellator PFL merger. It's probably a fight you'd never thought of until the last few months. But was it one you were immediately excited about when you did eventually find out about it?
Yeah, I was just excited that, he's the knockout king and he's going to stand there and we're going to throw down on the feet. I like to fight on the feet. So, yeah, he's a tough opponent, game opponent, legend in the game, so it was an honor to share the cage with him. And yeah, he caught me pretty clean early. And, I took his best shot. So after that, we're all right.
How good was that shot? Because I know some people didn't give you a round and other people did give you the round. And I think that goes down to how well you actually took the shot. But from you yourself, I know you'd maybe try to hide it a bit to fool the judges maybe. But how big of a shot was it?
I mean, I'd be lying if I said I've never been hit harder. I've definitely been caught cleaner than that. He kind of caught me a little bit off balance. So, going down, I was kind of falling as well. So I don't know. It was definitely enough to ring my bell a little bit. That's for sure.
It's funny when you go into a fight, the way you fight is obviously, as I said earlier on, very entertaining, but very technical. I want to ask you about more of the technical parts of it in a second. But when you're going into a fight with Patricky, as you said, the knockout king who hits very hard, how hard is it to know going into that fight that I am going to take a really hard shot from this guy and I have to do it to put my game into place? To win this fight, I have to do it. That must be for me, I would just not bother. I'd tap out before the fight even happened. But for you to be able to do that, how much of a mental hurdle is that to get past?
And we're always confident. We're always thinking we're gonna win. We don't take fights unless we think we're gonna win. So, yeah, knowing that he hits hard, it definitely puts a little added stress on, getting ready for a fight. But it's just something you gotta deal with. So we deal with it and we get the job done.
100%. Can I ask you about? I said about those more technical aspects of the game as well. You to me, you have one of the best jabs in MMA. Watching you for the last few years, it's a joy to watch, and I love seeing fights where there's great jabbing in effect. it's something that I think is underutilized in MMA. Can you just talk to us as someone who's one of the best components about it,
Same.
about the jab in MMA? I'd love for you to just, as long as you want, tell us about the jab in MMA and how good it is for you.
100% I agree with in the fact that the jab is underutilized in mixed martial arts. I don't know how many times I've been watching a fight or out at the fights and been like, "What? Throw your jab, man, jab!" You know. So um, I think it's a staple. I come from a boxing background, and learning how to box, you work everything off of your jab. You know, so yeah, getting on your stick and using it to set up other things, and I don't know. I think my jab's pretty damaging too. So yeah, I think it's a very underutilized punch for sure.
One of the things that maybe is a little bit overutilized is maybe feints in MMA. Sometimes, like I hear people who are obviously better analysts than me talking about how some people use feints and they don't even know what they're doing with them. They just feint for the feinting's sake. But for you, it's always to set up something because you know there's a lot coming. How big are feints in your game as well? And you know you're usually punching, but the odd time you're kind of trying to fake out a punch. How big is that to feint and to get people thinking and not maybe not see what the next thing you're about to throw is?
Especially in this last fight, that's something we worked on a lot because he liked throwing and countering. So if we could get him to think we're gonna throw and draw out that counter, then we can land our attack. So that's something we worked on specifically to this camp a little bit. Um, but yeah, you gotta think at the right time to make somebody bite for sure. If they're not gonna bite on a feint, it's just movement, you know. So
Obviously, we talked about the Bellator and PFL people coming together this year and the expanded tournament, I suppose. And was there any bit of worry that you wouldn't be in the tournament this year or that you might miss out?
no, I was always coming back, man. This is my year too. We taking it. Let's go.
And to be honest, looking at it, it does look like your year. Like you are so far definitely the standout personality. Do you feel like I don't, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you fought anyone in the bracket this year. Do you feel like all of them are kind of there for the taking this year?
Yeah, it's a tough competition. There's a lot of good opponents, but and I've been putting in a lot of work for a lot of years, and yeah, I just think I'm better than these guys in a lot of ways. So I'm ready to go out there for that.
Um, uh, I want to ask you as well. I was just speaking to someone involved in MMA just before we were starting, and I told them I was going to interview you, and they said ask him about going to boxing to fix his car. So I'd never heard this story before. So you took a boxing match because you need to fix your car. Is that correct?
Yeah, I was in a little fender bender accident. The car ended up being stolen. um, but yeah, so that was the very first boxing match I took was just to get some cash to fix my car, and then I took a break for a little while, and then actually focused on boxing there for a year or so. So,
Is boxing something
but yeah, that I go ahead, man.
is boxing something you'd like to do again? Obviously, you did very well, and I watched your boxing matches at the time, and you were really really good. And I know Jake Paul is over in the PFL now. Is that sort of debut you might want to box or even get him in an MMA fight?
He's the only guy I'll box. I don't think you'll see me in a boxing ring unless it's him.
And why is
Other
that?
than that, you'll see me in the cage. I just want to punch him. I just want to punch him in the face. I want to do it for all the mixed martial artists. Go take care of that guy. But
And how come you wouldn't do boxing anymore outside of that? Is it a thing you prefer MMA?
I just think I've got to a level where I would have to focus solely on boxing. I've gotten to a point where the guys that are fighting are like nobody will fight me unless they're, you know, like Olympic champions and stuff like that. And I think I would just need to focus solely on boxing. And I just love the mix.
Last question, Glenn. I really appreciate the time. Is there anyone you have your eye on next for this season? Obviously, there's a lot of good names in there. Is there anyone in the bracket you'd like to fight next?
Man, Duford looked pretty good. That would be exciting, but just give me service. I don't want Primus. He's a jock sniffer, dude. I don't want no jock sniffers.
All right, Craig. I really appreciate the time. Thank you very much for joining me, and best of luck in your next fight.
Thanks, sir.